Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Red Earth Productions studios for another edition of YBMcast with Matt and Brian. We appreciate you being with us. And as you can see to my right here, we have today's guest, Coach Russ Hill from Fort Zumwalt East High School. And I got to put my deal because I'm going a little homer here.
I like it.
Because both of my kids graduated from Fort Zumwalt East. My son played baseball for Coach Hill. And so it's great having you on, Coach. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Because we're previewing a little GAC baseball, aren't we?
Yeah, it's around the corner.
We hope so.
It's around the corner. You got to think positive here, Brian.
Can anybody? I did that. It was fun because I was thinking yesterday. We do this on our Facebook page, and I was sitting there. I was thinking, it is close. I just wanted to throw up something. We were putting stuff out, and I was like, I think baseball's coming because I can smell the grass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's 25 degrees outside, but yeah, it's coming.
Well, but
Soon.
everybody liked it, so I liked it a lot. Hey, we're going to start off today, Coach. I'm familiar with the program, and one of the things I just wanted to kind of bring in something that's a little personal because Justin did this. It wasn't last year; it was the year before. You have your Alumni Game.
Yeah.
Where you bring a lot of your kids back,
love it.
I was there. I was watching. There was a lot of guys showed up at that, and
Yeah.
what is that for
sure.
you?
One of my favorite days of the year, honestly, Brian. Like, to see alumni and see how they're doing and what they're, how they're attacking life and going through it. It's great. Yeah, that year we unfortunately didn't get to have it last year with the restrictions and everything, like many things. But there's usually like 30, 35, guys come back. And we play, just some BP scrimmage, but it's fun for me. Like I said, it's like one of the best days for me because I get to see those guys who are now married and, with kids. And I always tease my guys that
we got to see the guy with the remember they had the Blues championship.
Yep,
ring?
Absolutely. Yeah, Mike came back with that because he's working with them. So it's things like that. So it's a blast. I know my assistants love it. And I could ramble about them. We're lucky with those guys, but it's just good to see them. Go through. Like Justin, go through, have a good career at the next level, and be successful and move on and get jobs. Because you hear coaches talk about what's important to them, and like we were talking a little bit about winning, and that is important and it's fun, but at some point it's a little bit more important to have relationships and develop that camaraderie and see kids be successful. So. That alumni game is fun, so we'll pick that back up and, we'll be going this year on it again for sure.
Good. That's awesome. Because I remember, I think it was a young man, he's still playing in the minors. I think it was for the Blue Jays. I mean, it's BP, but man, he hit a majestic bomb.
Yeah, we
into the wind.
Yeah, there were some still guys that could play a little bit. It's funny because I always kind of wonder, like when you go to colleges and you have alumni games, they sometimes they'll bring pitchers out and they're throwing, throwing. When I went back to Lindenwood and saw that, I was like, I saw Schaefer who could still bring it, and I said, man, you better put something over the plate. Perfect for me. I can't hit anymore. But with our guys, with just too many of them, it's just a little tougher. So they love that BP game. And, man, and I said, you guys want to do softball? And they're like, no, Coach, we want to play 90 feet with a hard ball on our field, just like old times. And we bring out uniforms, and it's fun. It's
cool.
Fun.
Now, do you bring back the college guys that are still playing college ball that come back?
Yeah, so we do it in the fall.
So as soon as you graduate high school, you're eligible.
That's
basically.
right. That's right, baby. So as soon as you, graduate, in 2010 was our first graduating class.
Oh wow! So you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. So we had our first. I think this has been 6. So I think we started at around 14 or 15. I'm not really sure the year. I know we got T-shirts and.
Yeah.
6th and whatever it is, but yeah. So we have it in the fall, right after softball's over. So as soon as softball's over, we get at it. So it's usually around October. Yeah,
Kids probably love that.
Oh gosh, they eat it up, and they break out the jerseys and the old retros because I still have every jersey. Luckily, I'm fortunate to be, in the situation where we still have all the jerseys and the kids break it out and. it's fun.
Yeah, because it was cool because you had from the years they were wearing the jerseys from that
from when they played.
From when they played. I thought it was cool.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
They love putting their old jerseys back on, and it's back in the 2010 and 11, I had a lot of kids that I'd coached for a while because that's when the school opened up in 07. Blah blah blah, but we call those guys the old guys now. And they're still pretty close, and they could still play a little bit, even though they're kind of you get the get some guys in there they compete, that old group. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun watching it. I enjoyed
and the
it
parents
a lot.
do like it.
I do. I had a great time watching all those kids, the guys, and it's cool to see that. I think it's a testament to the program that these kids want to come back, that they want to be part of that. And I think that's a testament to you as a coach and that. So I think that's great, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.
So let's get to the task at hand. Let's talk a little East baseball. We got 2021 coming up.
Yeah.
You are in the, I think
Central.
it says the Central.
Yep.
Yeah, you got, of course, North rivalry.
Yeah, always.
South, kind of same.
Yeah, they always seem to have our number, but we would definitely say that's our rival, school-wise.
Coach Friedel, he does a pretty good job over there.
Yeah, he's always got some guys. That's
you got North again with, Coach Donahue's still there and getting it done.
Bobby's still doing his thing over there. Yep.
And Washington and Liberty is going to be pretty good this year as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got, Victor Quinn. I mean, that guy can bring it.
Yeah.
So that'll be a really fun Tuesday. Hopefully both those guys are healthy. Austin Young, my guy, and Victor Quinn. Yeah, that Tuesday at their place is going to be that's going to be a good.
I may have to drop in on that one.
Yeah, that'll be worth seeing a lot of strikeouts, I'm sure. Because
that's the thing,
it'll
Coach.
be pitcher dominated.
We've been talking about that. You fans, you baseball fans, you East, Liberty, baseball fans, period. That is going to be a great pitching matchup.
It is.
A good baseball game. If you're a fan of baseball, you need to come out.
Well, and you're going to have pro scouts
Literally.
Yeah.
all over the place to watch.
Yeah.
Two of the top arms in the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
Who both have the potential to get drafted at the end of
Absolutely.
July. It's a late draft this year. But I think, that game for sure. But let's dive in on some of the guys you got. I know this year's kind of hard because you didn't have a 2020, just like everybody else. So you're trying to get to know some of the younger ones, some of the seniors. Got the short end of the stick on leaving. But as a coach, you have to move on. I got to find out what I have if you didn't know what you had already.
Yeah.
But for your seniors, what do you have coming back that you're excited about?
Yeah, and you're right about that. Everybody's kind of in that same boat with 2020. And we've talked about how hard that is, getting to know your guys right now. Same thing when you guys were talking to Perkins about the the preseason and the rankings. It's like, you didn't have a 20 season, so you got to kind of go off 19. And how many varsity teams had a lot of sophomores that played varsity then? I don't know. So it is tough for sure. And that's one of the reasons I'm really looking forward to this season is getting to know the guys. I feel a little disconnected just due to the missing of the season, but that'll happen. So yeah, senior wise, I'm sure I'll miss some guys, but you got to start off with Austin Young. The kid's sitting low to mid 90s, and he's a right-handed guy for us. Played, he threw varsity innings for us as a freshman. Matured a little bit, and then sophomore year, he, was kind of, just thrown into the wolves, and had to throw a lot of tough games for us. Junior year, he would have of course been our guy, but we didn't have it. So he's progressed a ton, in his summer programs and pitching guys. But looking forward to him a lot. He's definitely our epicenter of. Even though he's kind of a pitching guy and he's going to go to the next level as a PO, he kind of played shortstop his whole life and can hit a little, but we're not really sure what we're going to use him for as far as that concerns. But even though he's kind of a PO guy, he's going to be our leader, and he's already starting to take a good role in that.
It's interesting because obviously I know Austin well.
Sure.
To see kids, and not just Austin, but kids in general, when you get them at 14 years old,
Right.
And then by the time they get to 17, 18, and you're like, well, you're the guy, you're in charge. And then you look
cool.
back and you're like at 14, you're like, man, this this kid's going to have to mature, and not just him, but every kid in general. Like, you need to mature, you need to do X, Y, and Z if you want to be where these other kids are right now that you look up to.
Absolutely.
And then now he's that kid.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at all the freshmen and the sophomores, and like, let's get it together.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can then lead this team
Absolutely.
in a few years.
Absolutely.
But I think he has done a great job in maturing and developing and putting in the work. I mean, that's really what it comes down to for any kid.
Absolutely. I agree with obviously the work part of things, but I agree with the maturity part. We had some bumps his freshman year, and he was kind of, again, thrown into the wolves. And but, man, he's done a great job. So I'm really looking forward. In fact, I saw him this morning, and we talked about leadership and what he's looking forward to. So, he, of course, played with us a couple years ago. Mason Kruger, another good athlete, played football. Big, strong kid. He played a little varsity for us 2 years ago as a sophomore. So, of course, I kind of know what I'm getting with him. So he'll have to be a leader as well. So that was good. And then Manus, we talked about Nathan Manus, the left-handed pitcher, who had some innings as a sophomore as well, because I saw a lot of potential in him for sure. And then now here it is, his senior year. So, I'm looking forward to him to step up and eat up some good quality innings and get some good starts for sure. And then a couple of the other seniors that I haven't necessarily seen play directly, which is kind of weird, like Chase Copenhaver. Looking forward to watching him. He's a guy that, he's caught his whole life, but he's kind of moving on and doing some middle infield work. I think he's going to going to UMSL. So, he's a guy that's going to lead for us for sure as a senior. But it's weird saying that because I haven't directly, it's weird, in a sense that I haven't really directly coached him. So yeah, that's it's weird. It's weird saying that, because there's a ton of those kids.
Right, and that's everybody.
Literally, like 98% of those guys.
That's going to be tough because with your seniors, you really don't know. I mean, you know a little bit about Austin. You're talking to him about leadership. That's the biggest thing with these seniors is where's that leadership going to come from? Yeah.
Right, and that's exactly right. Other than you get somebody like Austin, who I think our program will follow Austin immediately just because of the, what he brings.
It's kind of there, isn't it?
Yeah, for him, for sure, for us. But other than that, who else is going to be in the middle of the circle with him? That's going to have to be earned, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, so those guys, and there's a couple guys. Jordan Hines is another senior coming for us that really hasn't played a lot for us yet, obviously, but looking forward to him as a speed guy. And then we got 2 years ago, we got a guy named Colin Hampton who's now a senior pitcher for us. Will eat up some innings. So and like I said, that guy, I'll probably miss some guys too. So.
All right. So you've got some pretty good arms there, Coach.
Yeah, obviously our main guy, Tuesday guy, is going to be great. But it's kind of like to be determined. I mean, we'll have to see. I don't know how much depth we'll have on the mound, but it's just like we'll see.
It's. Well, you normally ask, what are your strengths going into the year?
Right.
And everybody has the same answer. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm sure they do,
That's tough.
Maybe a couple people are like, I know these
their
kids
guys.
because they had 4 or 5 sophomores and a bunch
varsity.
of juniors. Didn't have that many seniors, but
yeah,
I would say 99% of the schools and coaches are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is your squad pretty heavily junior this year?
It's pretty balanced, So those are kids, those are the 6 seniors that, that are, that we know have been in the program that have, that are going to be there for us. Juniors, it's kind of, segueing into the juniors, it's kind of the same amount of numbers. It's not necessarily, that class is pretty deep, but, like I said, it's kind of to be determined. With our juniors like Luke Aubuchon, which Aubie, he was going to be, he was going to be our starting shortstop as a junior last year. He played. At a good level for summer ball, and he's doing all right. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I actually saw him for the first time this morning.
Is that right?
We had some workouts or whatever, and he's a virtual kid.
Yeah.
And, I kind of miss seeing those guys in the hallway, but it was like, I saw Aubie for the first time in a while. It was good to see,
And he pitches also.
He does.
So
Yeah.
there's
And
another
he
arm
actually,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly. Like, he's a pretty solid arm. And then you got like Parker Davis, Kyle Prater, Justin Smith, those Evan Newcorn. I mean, there's some juniors that, Brennan Jackson, there's another lefty.
Yeah.
Those guys, actually a few of those guys were on the roster
Right.
in 2019, our roster, varsity roster, as sophomores. So we were looking forward to seeing what that core group of sophomores were going to do.
Right.
Like many other coaches, but we didn't get to see them. So they've progressed over the summer, and so those guys, I'm looking forward to seeing them for sure.
So it sounds you've got some pieces there. You just not sure how it's all going to blend and fit yet.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be okay. I'm optimistic. We have good solid half dozen seniors, good solid half dozen juniors, and more. Not that those are the only guys, but there's others. And but it's I would say we're not going to be that young.
Right.
Which is, I hear a handful like I know Zumwalt North. And I think Siebert said they're going to be kind of young, and a couple other schools are going to be young. But we got some young guys, but we won't be young.
So as anything goes, Matt and I have talked about this a lot. It's just a matter of depth at this point, huh?
Yeah.
What is your depth going to be at that pitching?
Yeah.
And how many arms you're going to be able to, where does that go into districts and those types of things?
Absolutely. I did hear you guys talk about that in the last segment with Perk, but depth and at any level. I don't care if you're talking, like you were saying, that 13U at the bottom of the lineup, or you're talking pitching depth at the high school level. It is. So that part is a little big of a question for us on our depth. But we have a handful of key guys at each grade, which is always what you kind of shoot for. You never want to have to where you have a group or a year or a graduating class with some small numbers, because that could bite you.
Well, it seems like everybody, including you guys, have at least one arm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, you're talking about Tuesdays. I mean, it's going to be tough which game to go watch.
Yeah. Tuesdays are going to be good.
I mean, all over the place. If you, you look at all the people that have legit arms.
Yeah.
You go any St. Charles school, really, they're going to have somebody to throw.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun season. I think there's just across the board, a lot of good competition. And I think that's going to be the key, when we talk about this, going back to it, how many sophomores or, those juniors, especially since you missed a year, how do they react to that spot, that big moment that, man, coach is putting me in here, it's 2 on and 1 out. I got to throw a strike. How do I handle that? Where's the mental? I mean, those are the moments, and that's when you really learn where you're going and how far you're going to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's it's going to be interesting to see immediately how those guys without experience, because it's literally everyone.
Right.
Unless you had some sophomores that played, or even freshmen that played a lot, which there's schools that have those, but that's really it.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Now, do you have any sophomores that you know of, or even freshmen from, I guess they would 14U to 15U, so you might know a couple of those. But is there anybody to look out for coming up? Yeah,
so there's some, weird when you say sophomores, and I haven't even seen those kids play for us, there's some guys for sure. We had a guy that was on our varsity roster as a freshman last year before it hit. Jackson Penn, who's, he catches and plays some outfield and even pitches a little bit, but good, a lot of potential there. Really liked what we saw with him. Mature kid, like physically, he fits right in with varsity guys last year as a freshman. And he got, I'm sure he got better just from the summer. I know physically he's gotten a little stronger, and so we're looking forward to him. Caleb Schneider, who unfortunately, good athlete, multiple sport kid, which I know you guys talked about that a while, but unfortunately he had an injury here with basketball, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to play. And he was a bubble kid. He was on JV last year as a freshman, the roster. That of course didn't happen, but bummer for him. I hate
That's
that
a
for
shame.
Caleb.
Yeah, I hate
know,
to hear that
I
with
do,
kids.
You know, and that's pretty
It
recent.
happens, but
That's pretty recent for him. And another kid, Cody Rust, who's a sophomore, who was on JV last year as a freshman. Good, hardworking kid. So, and there's other sophomores, but, you know, those are the guys that are kind of key for that class, 2023. But, and then a freshman guy, Jackson Penn is really kind of the only one that really has kind of stood out in a sense. And that sounds pretty mean, but I don't want it to sound mean.
No, it's
but
just
like you said, it's coming from 13 or 14U. That 14U that I don't really know a lot of those guys. You know, so I just have heard and seen him and athletic kid. So we'll see. And there's some other guys in that class for sure. But
so I think this though, as we're talking about some high school baseball being missed. Summer baseball that did get played really helped that situation, didn't it? Because the kids didn't actually lose out the whole year.
Right.
They were able to still get some swings, still able to throw, do those things,
Right.
which will, I know you didn't get to see a lot of that, but still they got the work. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anything, it probably hurt, summer league coaches because I'm sure they came in rusty, know. So, and everywhere. So I'm sure that was a little bit of an eye-opener for those guys. It was like, wait a minute, you don't have 30 games.
You normally get a kid that's mid-season form, and you're like, you're ready to go 100? Let's go.
Yeah.
First game out, and you're like, all right, let's go with 45 to start this weekend.
Right.
So, yeah, that was good that they got to play for sure. I can't imagine that being a pretty big difference coming into the summer ball. Pretty rusty, I'm sure. But, yeah, it was good. And some of those guys have already played some fall ball, too. And
Sure.
So
you're starting St. Charles West tournament. Is the schedule still accurate? March 19th?
yes, yeah, it won't.
20th?
It's not released yet necessarily on who, but yeah, that's
So that means you get the kids for tryouts was it March 1st?
yep, that's the first day. Day
So
one.
you have 19 days. 19 days.
right. It's on fast forward. That's
To
for
evaluate a bunch of kids that you've never seen play baseball.
Yeah.
And then you have to make decisions on who's going where.
Yeah.
Aren't you lucky?
Yeah, right. I'm glad I'm surrounded by good assistant coaches that help me, which I'm pretty blessed with those guys. I've been, and they've been around for a long time, so I'm pretty blessed with those guys. And Loutsey and Weiber and Varner, those guys have been with me since day one, actually.
Yes, they have, haven't they?
Literally,
Yeah.
man. You say I'm blessed with that, but those guys really help out in that situation for sure. But yeah, that's challenging, to do 19
And
days.
it's cold.
Yeah, and most of a lot of times it's in the gym,
Yeah, I mean, the first time you go outside might be that first game.
That happens often. That happens often. That, and that St. Charles West attorney is a good fit for us. We, back a long time ago when we had a little bit more, I don't know. I don't know if depth is the right word for that, but we used to get in the Troy tournament. We used to get in the Midwest Classic. And, you play those 5 games early, and they do a great job getting your 5 games in. And, we would play the CBCs. We would play teams out of town, and, Perkins, and they set up that a good tournament. Troy's a great tournament. But having those, for me, I had to back out just because of those 10 games in the first 2 weeks are great. And sometimes, it's tough to take your lumps because we didn't quite have the pitching depth to go. Well, I understand not many people do, but we didn't quite have the arms to go 5 games in 4 days.
Right.
That early.
No, not at all. And I'm not unique in that, but it was I just felt it was a little better for a program to kind of get into a different setting, just to be a little bit more successful and not, we would go in those first 2 weeks, sometimes we'd go 2-8, and it's like, okay, we played some good competition, and that was good, and it's going to help us in the end. I get that. But sometimes there's a fine line, where that maybe it hurt a little bit. So St. Charles West is a good, and someday maybe I'll, get back in and see if Burke's got some room or,
Well, to that
Troy?
point, we've been talking about the classifications, all the stuff. They're adding that 6A.
Which
we
is
talked
huge.
with Coach Perkins last week. Do you guys where you're going to sit in that? And that's what you're talking about. Do we have the depth? It's not a matter of it's a fact
Yeah.
You know, you have a talent pool, you have so many kids that you can pull from. It's different at different levels. That's why we have the
Right,
class structure,
classification, sure.
right? So, you know, that does make a difference in what your decision making.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt, you'd said, you know, lucky us to make those decisions that quick, but that is tough. And I can say, you know, at Jimwald East, we were always kind of like one of the smallest schools in that top
Right, in the 5A.
Right,
yeah.
I still call it 5A, but you know, in Class 5. But it's like, man, it was tough because we would do okay, and then all of a sudden our district is Zumwalt West or Francis Howell High or Zumi South, and it's like, you know, you'd like to be optimistic, but realism kicks in when, you know, it's tough. So I'm really looking forward to, you know, hopefully,
Right.
and I say that meaningful, that we are where we should be in the sense of that second tier, you know, that Class 5, it should be. You know, that's kind of what we're projected to be in our basketball. And so that'll help things. If anything, it'll help the morale because you always get to like the end of the year and it's like, okay, second season's here.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Right.
You guys talked about that. Anybody can beat anybody, especially with one arm. But it's like, man, it's really tough when you're staring at, you know, shoot, we've lost to the eventual state champions in our district multiple years with, you know, Howell and Zumi South. And, you know,
Yes. And I won't bring it up.
yeah, it was. I would talk
There
one
was
time.
some tough games, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, look what you're playing though.
Yeah.
We were just having this conversation with St. Charles County.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an arm,
Yes.
Yep.
so anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah, and you're right about that. So, and I know you guys said last two you talked about, you know, pitching and district matchups and decisions, but that's the fun part. That's why we do what we do. Part of the reason we do what we do. It's fun.
That's why you get criticized as a coach, right? I mean, Tony La Russe
It's
is in the Hall
true.
of Fame, and he got criticized after every single game.
Oh man,
Did he
it's
ever?
true.
He did.
So when you're looking at the state, okay, talk to us about some of the teams you're looking at. You know, from your perspective, 5A. You know, what are going to be some tough matchups for you guys? What do you see around the state?
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's tough for me, you know, to speak on that other side, you know, with schools. But you know, there's always good schools coming out on the Kansas City side, and you know, I kind of have been pretty hyper focused on like the big schools just because, you know, we've been in that Class 5. The top tier. Now that we add a 6A, now we'll probably be in that 5A. So it's a little different pool of schools
Sure.
that I'm not really familiar with.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, on the other side, so, I mean, I don't think I could really speak to that too well, to be honest. And, you know, but there's schools all over that are, you know, perennial house, you know, they're just good, you know. So, and Perkins mentioned those guys last you know, show for you guys. So, yeah, I'm kind of eager to see who are some of those second tier schools, and I don't mean that second tier ability and quality and all that. I just mean simply classification.
Class 5.
Right.
When
right,
you're going into that,
right.
because
So
you're
I'm
going
eager
be
to see those.
with St. Charles West. Is that you know,
Yeah.
Orchard Farm?
Yep.
You
Yep,
know, and
Warrenton,
that
and then-
Warrant.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Is MICDS there too, or are they?
So when
four?
they get when they redo
Yeah.
that'll be kind of interesting to see where
where
those
they end
guys
up
fall.
going.
Like Westminster will probably not
Right.
be there. They'll probably be down another one. You know, thank God they're always good. You know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah,
more unknowns for you.
yeah, it is. That is for sure. But you know, I you know, Brian, I like to kind of focus on like what our guys. You know, like
Sure.
whoever it is, we play. You know, so let's kind of take care of our stuff and our business and focus on us. And you know, I don't really get too caught up in that. I will once we get into that classification, and I'll start looking who is, you know, like printouts, like, you know, who's been in the Final Four the last couple of years,
Right,
on that
right.
other division, you know.
But you're still unsure of who that may even be,
Right,
correct?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I'm looking forward to that, you know, projection when that comes out, which it will, I guess, in March. So
Yeah. Now, are you headed to the? Do you head up to the coaches' deal and all that?
yeah,
With the
so,
rankings and all that.
Yeah. So you know, there's been a couple years where I didn't go up for whatever reason, probably more personal reasons with my own kids and sports and weekends because I get a couple young guys and a son and a daughter. So that I think in January it seems like there's been a couple years where they were doing their thing, and I said, but yeah, so we usually go to that. And years ago, we would take our assistant, and we would be a part of that rankings that you guys talked about, that meeting. I liked going to kind of listen to the big dogs kind of talk and hear how they did it, and it was good to see. Pretty informal stuff, but honest guys shooting each other straight and giving each other some trouble and having fun. But those meetings. Those meetings are good. I think it's healthy, like you guys talked about. And as far as the coaches clinic is concerned, I enjoy going there. I know the one was virtual. I don't know if you joined that ABCA. I don't know. That had some great speakers in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it really did.
They normally do.
Yeah.
They normally have some pretty good speakers.
Absolutely.
I always think personally it's always better to see somebody in person and live than virtual because I think the speaker, because some of them have things that they do when they walk around the stage, or they have, like one guy had a plate wrapped around his neck. Did you ever see that one?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're wondering, what's this about?
Yeah, and the whole time, but if it's virtual, you're like...
That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
So, but
17
it's,
inches.
but I think that the kids are going to be excited for high school baseball. More, not that they're not excited normally, but this year's going to be different. I think coaches are excited, kids are excited.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you take something away from somebody and they realize how much they miss it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for high school baseball,
Yeah.
especially with all the arms. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, and you're right about that as far as, it's just a little bit different. There's a little bit more excitement.
Yes.
Like I was talking to my assistants and friends and coaching buddies, and it was like, we're just like super just jacked up about it. But yeah, I'd tell you one thing that was really kind of, and hit on that as far as like, we talked about like 98% of my program and everybody's program really, you don't really know. Mm-hmm. But, one thing that kind of, I twisted that a little bit the way you think about that, which means 98% of the kids in my program don't know me. And they don't know if I'm good, they don't know if I'm bad, they don't know if I'm hard, they don't know if I'm easy, they don't know, they don't know.
Right.
So I have like a new kind of profound like, all right, I got to earn my keep here and earn my respect. These guys don't really know me, so it's kind of a little motivating to go into this year.
They'll find out at the gate, right up the gate. They're gonna find out.
That's awesome. I love that. It's taking a look and going, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I gotta look at this from their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing wrong with that because it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. They're coming in going,
yeah, like, who is this guy? Like, it's weird. It's like,
what do I say to not make them mad at me? Right?
I'm sure.
I don't want to run polls, thank you.
What can I get away with?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a thought process.
Well, we're looking forward to it, Coach. We want to thank you for coming on the show today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
It's good. We're looking forward to the season. And, hey, listen, guys, if you like what we're doing here at the show, hit the subscribe button, hit that dinger, get your notifications for upcoming episodes of YBMcast with Matt. I always point to myself. What is that, man? Isn't that terrible?
I don't know.
I'm a little confused.
What you're doing over there.
I'm still confused. That's Matt. I'm Brian. There we go. I did that again. That's terrible. Anyway, hey, remember, all you pitchers keep throwing strikes, and you hitters,
hit them where they ain't.
that's it. That's the old saying. We love it. Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you next time.